Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Tamika D. Roberson. We'll be discussing her fantastic book, My Tears Are in His Hands, Unveiling the Wholeness God Has for You. Available for purchase through Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, or if you guys want to get everything that Tamika has to offer, do yourself a favor and go directly to her personal site, author TamikaDRoberson.com. There, not only will you find more information on Tamika herself, you'll find more information on this book, My Tears Are in His Hands, as well as find hyperlinks set up to take you to the purchasing page. So one more time, that's author TamikaDRoberson.com. And I will say, Tamika was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by some of the best movers in the business. Author Reputation Press Publishing. So if you have a book that you'd like moved, well, do yourself a favor and contact Author Reputation Press. And you can find out more information on them at authorreputationpress.com. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Tamika, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you for being a guest. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Tamika, we're very much looking forward to this. As I stated, I mean, what a wonderfully timed book this is. And the value surpasses just this past year in the adversity that we faced. This is a great book to just have on the shelves at any moment throughout life, because we know we're constantly being battle tested, right? And that's kind of a part of life. Now, I know we have so much information to cover, Tamika, but before we jump into the book, let's hold off slightly. Start by articulating to our listening audience a little bit more about yourself, please.
Okay, well, as mentioned already, my name is Tamika D. Roberson. I was born and raised in St. Petersburg, Florida. I am the only child of a phenomenal woman. I am also the proud mother of one loving son who is almost about to be 18 years of age. Let's see. I served 4 years active duty military in the United States Air Force. And I continued my military service after being discharged from military. I served for the Department of Veteran Affairs for 15 years. Then I retired from there, and I have been an entrepreneur for 11 years. And then that leads me to where I'm at now. And now I'm a first-time author as well.
Fantastic. What an impressive resume. And first and foremost, thank you very much for your service. Truly, truly appreciated. Tamika, without further ado, My Tears Are in His Hands. Tell us a little bit more about your book.
Well, my book is an easy read, and it's an inspirational book, which highlights a young woman overcoming adversities of life. As you follow the main character in the book, you will be uplifted by her story. You will discover how she overcame and experienced new levels of physical and spiritual growth.
Now, if we can go in a little bit more depth with this, Tamika, talk to us about your character. Now, clearly, this is a fictional narrative, so everything is created for entertainment purposes. But what are some of the challenges that your character faces? And maybe without giving too much away, at what point and what resources does your character, your main protagonist, utilize to really help surpass some of the pain that she's experienced?
Certainly. Well, the main character never gave up, and that's the main point. She never gave up. She pressed through life and pulled herself back together. I want all my readers to know that pain is inevitable. That's something that we can't stop and prevent from happening, but suffering is optional. So we can deal with the pain. I mean, we may have experienced pain, but suffering is optional. It's okay to cry. It's okay to hurt. But once we get out of our feelings, we need to regain our focus so we may discover our purpose and the wholeness that God has for you.
There you have it. There you have it. Tamika, I love the passion in your voice. I love the passion that you're speaking from. It's enticing, and it really helps to really see your vision that you're articulating. Now, next concept I want to go into, let's talk about inspiration. Now, multi-part question here, but first and foremost, I know that you're a first-time author, but what inspired you to embark upon this creative journey and write this particular book?
Well, COVID was one of the main reasons. As I was just sitting at home, looking at the four walls, didn't have anything to do. I started reminiscing over some of my life challenges and some things that I have experienced and overcome. So I was inspired to write the book because I wanted to get a message out. I wanted to encourage women to discover their inner strength. And like I said before, we all are going to experience some challenges in life, but we must not stop there. We must learn to develop and find our inner strength so we can overcome those obstacles, and not overcome the obstacles just for ourselves, but to overcome the obstacles so we may help another person that may be experiencing or may be going through some of the same or similar situations.
Mm-hmm. Now, sticking with the concept of inspiration, in terms of, so we know really what was the precipice to spur you on this journey to write this particular book and the message that you wanted to put out for your readers. Now, from a writing standpoint specifically, have you always been interested in writing? Were there particular artists that inspired you, people that inspired you? Where does that love for creative writing develop?
Well, and that's funny that you asked that question, because I never dreamed of becoming an author. When I was a child, that was never one of my dreams. But I think just because of some of the experiences, and I just know how difficult it may be, feeling alone, going through, your trials and tribulations, thinking that no one is there for you, that just gave me the inspiration and the courage to actually put it in writing so someone else can read. Because like when I was going through my own situations and my own trials and adversities, I always felt that I was alone. But even if we don't have people, your friends and family that you may think you could depend on, even if we don't have them, we always have God. So we are never alone.
Wonderfully put. Guys, again, here in the line with Tamika D. Roberson. We're discussing her fantastic book, My Tears Are in His Hands, Unveiling the Wholeness God Has for You. Available for purchase through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or directly through her personal site, author TamikaDRoberson.com. Tamika, thank you very much for everything that you've established for our listening audience so far. And I have to hurry up and get to this next one because my listening audience is going to be upset with me if I don't ask it. Okay. This is, as I stated, it's a fictional narrative, but you can't deny the self-help, the motivational and inspirational properties found within the book. Now, of course, given this past year, as we've already discussed, COVID has wreaked havoc amongst so many people in so many different communities. But even outside of COVID, life in general, of course, as you stated, it's inevitable, right? Pain is inevitable. Now, the suffering that comes with it doesn't have to be. And I love that message. So to push forward a little bit more on that and to pick your brain a bit, what would be any tips that you can offer our listening audience? Anybody that is finding themselves going through a very tough patch right now and can't really see the light at the end of the tunnel, what would be some words of wisdom that you can relay to them?
Well, if I can provide my audience, my readers, a word of wisdom, I will tell them, don't allow your pain to define you. Allow your pain to refine you. Sometimes painful experiences can teach us lessons that we didn't even think we needed to know. So I encourage my readers, I encourage my listeners, I encourage you today to stand firm, confront your past, and conquer your pain.
Fantastic. Tamika, you need to be a motivational speaker. Your messages are so poignant. They're concise, directly to the point, but very, very powerful. I absolutely love it. I'm curious, given the entire process of writing your book, getting it published, everything, what would you say was a highlight for you in this process, in writing the book? Or if not a highlight, maybe something that surprised you that you weren't expecting prior to embarking upon the journey?
the details and the thoughts that were coming as I was writing. I started out with a small bullet point, but as I started writing, like memories and scenarios and experiences were just coming to my mind, whether they were personal experiences or they were experiences that I was aware of a friend or a family. Just how the book actually, once I had the topic and once I had my chapters, when I started writing it just was much easier than I thought it was going to be. I've never been a writer. I never thought about being a writer. I didn't have any experience to being a writer. So I'm thankful for my editor that was able to help and guide me. But the process was just a lot easier than I thought it would be. Because a couple of years ago, I did think about writing a book, but you always question yourself. I'm not a writer. Who's going to buy my book? It intrigues me, but it may not, it might not be an interesting subject to someone else. So a couple of years ago, I was negative talking myself. I was holding myself back from writing the book. But as of COVID, sitting in the house, it was just more pressure and more pressure. It stayed on my mind that I need to write this book. And I'm like, okay. I think when I just start realizing, I'm like, this book may not be for me. There may be a lot of other women that may be in circumstances or in situations that feel like their past is hindering them. They don't know how to get past their past. And so I just sat down. I had plenty of time. So I sat down and I just got my pen and paper out and I just started jotting and just started writing. And next thing you know, I was had a book completed.
There you go. As we start to tie up this fantastic interview, Tamika, we've expressed so much already, but is there anything left that you haven't brought up, that you haven't discussed, that you really want to make sure that our listening audience is aware of?
Yes, I think I would love to discuss the meaning of the title. Where did I get the title from, and why did I name my book, My Tears Are in His Hands? The meaning of this book is, although during trials we may seem alone, but we are never alone. Some may feel as God couldn't possibly care about your situation. Sometimes it feels like you are all alone. While everything seems to be going wrong, you end up crying, and we are wondering if God even cares about you. Well, the tears in my hand, my tears are in his hand, books tells you that you do not cry alone. He will wipe away every tear from your eyes. He cares, and when I say he, I'm talking about God. He cares so much about you that he has collected all your tears in a bottle and have recorded each and every one of them. So not only does he care about you, but he keeps track of what made you cry, and he studies your heartbreak so that he can even heal you and comfort you.
Wow, we should have started there. I don't know why I waited so long. I should have asked that question much earlier. That is fantastic. That is so beautiful. Tamika, being an artist myself, and my listening audience knows I'm an actor and filmmaker based here in Los Angeles, but I love having this platform to pay it forward to other artists out there listening in a sense. Okay. Now, for any new writers that are out there, and I know you said on a number of occasions you've never considered yourself a writer. Well, let me be the first to tell you here on our network, Tamika, you are an accomplished author. Okay. You've written the book. You've gone through the process. You've gone through the gauntlet of publishing the book and getting it out there to the masses. Therefore, that makes you the truest embodiment of a person of distinction here on our network, and you have wisdom to be shared. So I'm curious, for any new writers that are out there listening in, someone just starting out, what would be some words of wisdom that you can relay?
Share your story. Everybody goes through things for a reason. And it's to help make you stronger, and it's also to help other people to be stronger as well. So you can't hold on to your testimony, because it's not a testimony until you can share that experience. We all go through trials and situations, but you must share your story. Even if it's not your story, it may be a book, it may be a help, something that's going to help somebody, guide someone. Mine just happened to be a fictional story. I just wanted to share mine in a story. But if I can share anything with you and you have a vision to be an author, I would say go for it. There's many resources out there that can help you, guide you to edit your book, to make sure you're on the right track. Go for it. Don't let yourself hold you back.
There you have it. Guys, listen, so much more can still be discussed. So much more can still be said, but nothing else is going to be. Okay? Unfortunately, A, we're out of time, and B, the onus is on you. Okay? I could sit here and I could talk to Tamika for hours. Her topic of conversation, the book is just that magnificent. It is just that amazing and perfectly timed. Like I said, anybody that has reached a certain age, you just start to understand adversity is a part of life. You can't escape it. But as she said, the suffering that comes along with it does not have to be. It doesn't have to be a long-lasting thing. A lot of times the resources are there. The answers are in front of our face. We just have to make sure that we open our eyes and we see them. So you know what you have to do. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, author TamikaDRoberson.com are the places you have to go. My tears are in his hands. Unveiling the Wholeness God Has for You is the title you have to pick up. And Tamika D. Roberson is the author you have to thank for bringing it to your table. You surely will not be disappointed. Let's grow, let's develop, let's educate ourselves, and it starts with this fantastic book. Tamika, this has been an absolute honor. Thank you once again for being a guest with us today on People of Distinction.
Thank you, Benji, once again for having me. It was a pleasure.